Good morning, everyone. My name is Natalie Senger. Actually, I'm the Vice President, Resource Development and a Director with Tudor Gold. Tudor Gold is advancing the Treaty Creek Gold Project in the Golden Triangle of British Columbia. Thank you, Sean, speaking so well to the opportunities we have in the Golden Triangle. In March 2021, we put out a resource on the Treaty Creek project, our Goldstorm and Copper Bell deposit. And so today I'd like to share what we've been up to since then and also speak to the immense exploration potential at Treaty Creek. So before I get started, just be aware I may make some forward-looking statements. So investors in Tudor Gold have really an exceptional opportunity to capitalize on what we think is one of the most exciting gold projects out there right now. As I mentioned, our March 2021 resource estimate came out at 19.4 million ounces at 0.74 grams per ton gold equivalent in the measured and indicated categories. And we had an additional 7.9 million ounces at 0.79 grams per ton gold equivalent alone in the inferred resource category. So working in the Golden Triangle, we have exceptional access to mature infrastructure system, wonderful relationships with our First Nations groups, and the infrastructure is there and ready and being used right now. Our 2022 drilling program is about a 40,000 meter program targeting an expansion and optimizing the resource at Goldstorm and Copper Bell, so I'll speak more to that in detail as we go. So we trade on the TSX Venture Exchange under the symbol TUD. We have about 200 million shares issued, and our market cap is about 200 million right now. We're tightly held with Tudor Holdings and Eric Sprott holding just under 50% of the shares. And we're led by Ken Conkin as our president and CEO and our management team. And Ken has had over 35 years experience in exploration. He's an award-winning geologist. He was instrumental in the discovery and development of the Brucejack mine, the Valley of the Kings deposit, as well as the Mitchell East, which was Snowfield for us back then. And I've worked with Ken since 2008. I've been in the industry in the Golden Triangle since 2007, so I have 15 years in the area. Our board of directors is strong with Ronald Stoffele sitting on our board, and then we also have some exceptional advisors with Joe Obstnick and Ken McNaughton, who also have a very long history in the area and are very successful, again, with Brucejack. So I'll take you through a brief history of Tudor. The company was started in 2016 with Walter Storm acquiring 60% of the Treaty Creek property, another 20 and 20 owned by Teuton and American Creek. And so drilling started there with stepping out on the known Copper Bell deposit to the northeast. And in 2018, the discovery of Goldstorm was made with that intercept of 563.8 meters of 0.98 grams per ton. So in 2020, we started to ramp up exploration. Since then, every year we've done at least 30,000 meters of drilling. And this year we'll do just over 40,000 meters. And again, that drilling, along with the summer 2021 field season drilling, will contribute to an updated mineral resource in 2023, and as well will contribute to a PEA study in the future. So again, just speaking to where we are located, a phenomenal location right in the Golden Triangle. The Treaty Creek property is 20 kilometers from an all-weather highway, Highway 37, that has a power line running right adjacent to it. We have access to water on site year-round. 40 kilometers to the north is the Bob Quinn airstrip, and then 80 kilometers to the south is the port out of Stewart. And there's also some other airports in the area as well. We have signed agreements with Tahltan Central Government for communications, engagement, and opportunity sharing, and we also have very strong relations with other Indigenous groups in the area. So the Treaty Creek property is a 17,000 hectare land package, and it sits just north of Seabridge's string of porphyry deposits. We also sit north of Newcrest's concessions there. We have a strategic land package next to Skeena's Eskay Creek. That's our Eskay North. And then we also have the Crown claims. Well, for a short time, we have the Crown claims in Electrum because as of last week, our shareholders and board of directors voted to spin those two properties off into a new entity that will be called Goldstorm Metals. And for every 4 shares of Tudor, our shareholders will get 1 of the new company Goldstorm metals. So just to speak a little bit more to that belt of porphyries, so the properties or the outlines in blue there are Seabridge's deposits. Again, these are large porphyry systems. And then ours is highlighted in red. So our Goldstorm Copperbell deposit right in the middle of our Treaty Creek property. And all of these deposits are associated with a large regional structure called the Sulphurets Thrust Fault, and may be associated with some other related thrust faults or major faulting events. This is a long section on the right of the screen there that shows our resource from 2021, March 2021. So the initial exploration was done in Copperbell. That's kind of the shortest, the least deep portion of the deposit there. And then as we moved through discovery of Goldstorm and through the expansion of the resource, stepping out to the northeast, we found this system is a minimum of 1.5 kilometers in strike and over 1 kilometer in depth and still open in all directions. So here we just have a summary of our resource from 2021. The top portion of the table is our in-pit resource, the middle is our out-of-pit resource, and the bottom is everything. And one thing to note, so this is about a 90% gold project. We also have about 140 million ounces of silver in there and 1.4 billion pounds of copper. So right in the middle here, this shows a mag map on top of the area, and right in the middle is the Goldstorm and Copperbelt deposits where we did our resource, and surrounded by a number of other interesting zones. And to date, we've focused most of our efforts on the calm before the storm zone, the Eureka zone, and the perfect storm zone. So we do exploration in those areas as we expand and work very aggressively on expanding the mineral resource estimate at Goldstorm and Copperbell. So just to speak to the domains at Goldstorm and Copperbell, so we actually kind of call Copperbell its own domain, just because it's a little bit smaller. And then we have the 300 horizon, which is dominantly gold. Again, this is a porphyry system, so very long, consistent runs of grade throughout. Our CS600, if you look at the text highlighted in blue there, you'll see that's where all of our copper is. So when you look at our resource table, you see a low number for copper, 0.06%. It is actually all concentrated within this, so if you took that domain alone, you'd have a higher percent. And as we drill down dip in the system, we're intercepting much stronger grades in both copper and gold. And that's the same for DS5, although we don't have our copper there, we're seeing stronger gold as we drill that one. So the 2021 and 2022 exploration seasons were extremely successful. We stepped out to the northeast up to 400 meters on our Goldstorm system. But I want to speak to a section that I have there on the right-hand side. Hole GS21 113W2 was drilled in 2021. That was one of our most successful holes where we discovered extremely really high-grade portion of the CS600. Again, that's where our copper and gold is. So this is a intrusive that comes right through the middle of the deposit. And then we went back down that hole this year, and we extended it by 300 meters. We dropped out the bottom of the domain, but the domain is completely open to depth, so we haven't reached the limits of that system yet. And then you can see some of the grades, and if you're combining the 300 horizon, again, that's gold dominant. With the CS600, we have an intercept of just under 1,500 meters at 1.12 grams per ton gold equivalent, with 0.76 grams of that as gold and 0.27% copper. And then if you're looking at the CS600 alone, 732 meters at 1.6 grams per ton gold equivalent, 0.91 grams per ton gold, and a little bit of silver, 0.53% copper. So I've spoken about kind of the northeast extension where a lot of our drilling has been done. But we also have opportunity to explore between Copperbell and Eureka. So we currently have a hypothesis that there is a potential for the DS5, our deep gold system, to be related to the Eureka system that we see right at surface. So that area in between has yet to be tested, and we're looking forward to doing that in the future. And as much as we do have these long, consistent intersections of grade, really classic porphyry system, we're also seeing this year really a lot of higher grade interceptions. So we have GS-22-134, that was our largest step out, 400 meter step out to the northeast. We intercepted 25.5 meters of 9.96 grams per ton gold equivalent with, there's a little bit of copper in that because that is in the CS600. And also just a bit south of that, GS-22, 143, we have a meter of just under 71 grams per ton gold equivalent. So we are seeing more visible golds. That 134 intersection had 17 occurrences of visible gold in it. And lastly, I'll just speak to the potential south. So I mentioned perfect storm when we were looking at the zones in the Treaty Creek property. So we do have a huge open area between Gold Storm and Perfect Storm. Perfect Storm is a system that we tested in 2020 and 2021. And one of our best holes was the furthest south hole that you see, PS 2106. We intercepted 118 meters at 0.72 grams per ton gold equivalent. And we're currently testing just south of Copper Bell, and we continue to expand to the northeast in Gold Storm. So what investors need to remember about Tudor Gold is we have really an aggressive team for developing the Gold Storm deposit as well as exploring more in the area. The drilling that we did in 2021 and 2022 will lead to an updated and optimized resource estimate in Q2 there. We are sitting in an excellent jurisdiction for mining. There's been extreme success in the area, favorable geopolitical climates, infrastructure, and a proven track record of discovery and development. And then also, we are committed to spinning out that Crown property and creating value for our shareholders. And that's everything. Thanks.
Great. Thank you so much, Natalie. We do have a couple questions, or a couple moments for questions, if anybody has any. And Natalie, I'll just say in the meantime, while we're waiting, if there are questions, and my apologies for getting your title wrong.
Oh, that's okay. We switched it last minute, kind of. Yeah.
Are there any questions? No. Okay, well, we are running a little tight on time then, so I will just say congratulations on the proposed spin-out. We'll look forward to news on that, and you've had a wonderful season, so again, we'll watch for the drill results and see what happens, so looking forward to it. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone.